Too many people speak words filled with power, passion, and purpose, but they don't actually live by them. It's easy to talk big when nothing is testing your character. It's easy to sound motivated when everything is going your way. But life doesn't care about speeches. Life is going to check your foundation. Life is going to bring storms, pain, failure, and unexpected trials. And when those moments come, what you preach will be put to the test. If you say you believe in hard work, but you fold when it gets tiring, then your words were just noise. If you say you believe in faith, but that belief disappears the moment your plan doesn't work out, then you were only faithful when it was convenient. There's a difference between sounding right and asterisk being asterisk right. A difference between quoting strength and asterisk showing asterisk strength. When people hear you talk, they might be impressed. But when people watch you suffer, struggle, and still stay standing, that's when your message becomes real. Because your life will preach louder than your lips ever could, you can't inspire the world with empty declarations. The world is already full of talkers. What it needs is someone who backs it up with action. Someone who walks into the fire and doesn't flinch. Someone who faces loss, failure, and pressure, and still chooses integrity, discipline, and purpose. That's what makes your message matter. That's what makes your words carry weight. Because when people know you've asterisk lived asterisk it, they listen differently. Your message goes from being information to transformation. Not because you had the best lines, but because you had the strongest life behind them. A lot of people are preaching things that sound beautiful, but when life hits, they disappear. They run from discomfort. They avoid difficulty. They want the rewards of their message without paying the price of the lifestyle it requires. But real preaching is not about perfection. It's about alignment. When your actions match your beliefs, when your life reflects your values, when your story echoes your words, that's how real change happens. That's when you move people deeply, because people can see through fakeness. They can feel when you're just talking, and they know when you've actually lived what you're saying. So before you speak it, live it. Before you declare it to others, walk it yourself. Before you preach perseverance, stay consistent in your own struggle. Because at some point, life is going to knock on your door and say, prove it. And in that moment, your real character will speak. Not your rehearsed message, not your inspiring quote, but your choices, your sacrifices, your quiet daily discipline. That's the sermon the world will never forget. Not what you said when everything was easy, but what you did when everything was hard. The storms of life don't come to destroy you, they come to reveal you. Every trial, every setback, every painful moment is a mirror. It shows you who you really are when the comfort is stripped away. You see, anybody can talk about strength, patience, or faith when life is running smoothly. But that's not where your truth lies. Your truth shows up when your back is against the wall, when your plan fails, when you're hurting and still have to keep going. That's where your message is tested. That's where your beliefs become more than just words, and that's where you find out whether you've just been saying something, or truly living it. Pain pulls the real you out into the open. It removes the mask. It exposes your motives. It makes you wrestle with your own heart. And when that pressure hits, it forces you to ask yourself, asterisk, do I still believe in what I said when I was on that stage? Asterisk, asterisk. Do I still trust the process when the process hurts? Asterisk, it's not enough to be motivational when life feels good. The world doesn't need more positivity in perfect conditions. It needs examples of perseverance when the conditions are broken. It needs to see people who can preach through their scars, not just their success. That's why adversity is such a powerful teacher. It doesn't care about how you look. It doesn't care about how many followers you have or how many likes your posts get. It's not impressed by your slogans. It wants to know if you can still stand when your world is shaking. And if you can, that's when your message becomes real. That's when you stop being a speaker and start being a testimony. You don't inspire people by telling them what they asterisk should asterisk do. You inspire them by showing them what's possible when you live through what they're going through. Your endurance becomes their encouragement. But the problem is, most people want to preach power but avoid pain. They want to speak about breakthrough without ever facing brokenness. They want the glory without the grind, and that's why their message doesn't stick. Because words without experience are light. They don't carry the weight of real life. But when you've been tested, when you've wept in private and still showed up in public, when you've prayed through confusion and still stood in faith, that's when you carry something different. That's when your words don't just land in people's ears, they land in their soul. So don't run from the storm, embrace it. As the fire that forges your message, let the pain teach you, let the struggle shape you, let the process prepare you, because when you come out on the other side, not only will you be stronger, but your message will be undeniable. You won't have to convince people with clever words. They'll feel the truth in your story, and that's what changes lives, not perfect speeches, but proven strength. You don't get to control everything that happens to you, but you always get to choose how you respond. And that response says more about your character than any speech or post ever could. Life will throw punches, it will break your heart, it will knock you off course, but in those moments you have a decision to make. Do you stay down or do you rise? Do you become bitter or do you get better? Do you give up or grow through it? The power of what you preach isn't found in how loud you shout. It's found in what you choose to do when the silence hits, when the lights are off, and when nobody is cheering you on. There's something powerful about a person who keeps showing up. Not just when they're winning, but when they're losing, when they're drained, disappointed, and discouraged. But they still get up and do the work. That's not weakness. That's the greatest form of strength. That's a message in itself. Because someone's always watching. There's a kid somewhere, a friend, a stranger, who sees your fight, who sees your discipline, and they're silently saying to themselves, asterisk, if they can keep going through that, maybe I can too. Asterisk, you don't have to be on a stage to preach. You don't need a microphone. You preach with how you live. You preach with how you respond when life turns ugly. See, people will forget your words, but they'll never forget your example. They'll remember how you handled disappointment. They'll remember how you treated people when you didn't get your way. They'll remember if you stayed humble when you won, and if you stayed faithful when you lost. And that memory becomes your legacy. Not the image you created, but the reality you lived. When you respond with grace, with grit, with patience and power in the face of pressure. That's preaching. When you keep loving even when it's not returned, when you keep grinding even when there's no recognition, when you keep praying even when the answer is silence, that's preaching. You don't need applause to validate your mission. The mission itself is sacred. The journey itself is the sermon. So ask yourself, what do your responses teach the world? When life presses you, what comes out? Do your reactions reflect the values you claim to stand for? Because the truth is, your reaction to life is your real message. Your consistency in chaos, your peace in problems, your fire in the face of failure. That's what people feel. That's what inspires. That's what leaves a mark. Your power is not in pretending the pain isn't there. Your power is in choosing your response despite the pain. And when you do that, you preach something no one can argue with. Because they've seen it, they've felt it, and they know it's real. That kind of message doesn't fade. That kind of message lives forever. The world is overflowing with noise. Everyone has something to say. Social media is filled with quotes, slogans, and highlight reels. But very few people are living what they speak. And that's where the real difference lies. Not in who talks the most, but in who walks it out consistently when nobody is watching. It's easy to say the right thing. It's easy to sound disciplined, humble, focused, or faithful. But when you're tired, when it's early morning or late at night, when nobody is clapping for you, what do you do then? That's the real test. Because your habits reveal your truth far more than your words ever could. You don't teach people with perfect lines. You teach them with real, life proof. People say they want to lead, they want to inspire, they want to motivate. But leadership isn't about popularity, it's about example. Can you be counted on when it's hard? Can you be consistent when the results are slow? Can you make the right decision when it costs you something? Real leadership doesn't come from the spotlight. It's forged in discipline. It's built through small, quiet choices when no one is applauding. It's staying committed to your principles even when shortcuts are tempting. It's saying, asterisk, I won't lower my standards just to be accepted. I won't compromise my values just to look successful. Asterisk, people are watching. Not your speech, but your story. They're not following your words, they're following your actions. If you say you believe in hard work, they want to see you get up early. If you say you value loyalty, they want to see how you treat people when they can't offer you anything. If you say you walk by faith, they want to see how you react when the outcome is uncertain. Every move you make, every decision, every sacrifice, it all preaches louder than your voice ever could. Because people remember who was real when it mattered most. And the truth is, if your life isn't aligned with your message loses its power. You might be able to impress people for a little while with good delivery, but only authenticity lasts. Only integrity makes an impact that sticks. That's why you have to be more than a good speaker. You have to be a solid human being. One who shows up for others, one who does the work, one who doesn't just wear success on the outside but builds character on the inside. So before you tell the world what they should be doing, ask yourself what your life is showing them. Before you share another post, check if it reflects your practice, because the people who change lives are not the ones who shout the loudest. They are the ones who live the quiet truth every day. Let your choices echo what your mouth speaks. Let your discipline support your words. Let your example be the sermon. That's where the real impact begins. Perfection has never been the requirement for impact, authenticity has. People don't connect with those who pretend to have it all figured out. They connect with those who are real, those who are honest about the fight, the flaws, and the failures. When you try to act perfect, you build a wall between yourself and the people you're trying to reach. But when you're willing to show your wounds, your struggles, and your growth, you give others permission to do the same. That's where the real power of your message lies. Not in looking like you've never been broken, but in showing that you're still standing despite it. That you've been through the fire and refused to quit. That you've failed but got back up. That you've felt pain and still chose love. That's the kind of message that moves people. What you preach isn't always what comes out of your mouth. It's what people see in how you live. When they watch how you respond to adversity, when they see how you treat people behind closed doors, when they observe how you carry yourself when there's nothing to gain, that's the real message. And that message becomes even more powerful when it's rooted in truth. Not surface-level truth, but deep, honest, hard-earned truth. The kind that comes from late nights and hard lessons. The kind that comes from being knocked down and still choosing to rise. That's the kind of truth people remember, not because it sounded good, but because it felt real. It's not about being polished. It's about being present. Not about sounding perfect, but being willing to say, here's what I've learned through the pain. Here's what I've discovered in the dark. Here's what I'm still working through. When you do that, you don't just inspire people. You relate to them. You speak into their reality. You give them hope, not because your life is flawless, but because you've chosen to keep showing up in the middle of the mess. That's what resonates. That's what stays with people long after your words are done. Your scars are part of your sermon. Your growth is part of your gospel. Don't hide the chapters that made you strong. Don't silence the battles that shaped you. That's where your authority comes from. Not from having no wounds, but from healing and helping others do the same. That's why your vulnerability matters. That's why your transparency has weight. It says I've been there, I've felt that, and I'm still here. That kind of message doesn't need applause to be powerful. It just needs to be real, so don't chase perfection. Chase purpose. Don't try to impress, try to impact. Let your life preach redemption, not performance. Let your heart speak louder than your image. Let your authenticity carry your message farther than perfection ever could. Because when it's all said and done, people won't remember how perfect you looked. They'll remember how real you were.